Rise now.
Welcome to my goon cave, everybody. I wanted to talk about the Elden Ring Nightreign problem. 3 months after the hype, is the game any good? Short answer is,
I mean, it's alright,
but that's not the greatest thing to hear when we're talking about From Software. You know, the guys that made the Souls series?
May the flames guide thee.
If Elden Ring Nightreign was a cake, it would have all the right ingredients, all the right spices, just the most perfect, most beautiful cake. But they forgot to add enough sugar. And then after forgetting to add the sugar, they baked it for half the time. This game is half-baked. It feels incomplete. It feels rushed as you play it. Because day 1 and day 2, each run you're fighting a hippo or a guy on a horse. And day 1 and day 2 just feel lackluster. So little variation. The greatest issue with Elden Ring Nightreign right now is that From Software does not understand how to create a multiplayer game in 2025. Nightreign is better played with a cohesive team and played with your friends. 3 months after release, to this day, Nightreign does not have cross-play. And it released without duos. Luckily they have duos now, but I'm always not having a full team because I have a friend on PC and a friend on PlayStation. And I'm sure this is a problem that everyone is dealing with. It's so hard to get a full team that can communicate together. Oh, but can't we just talk to like a random and shit? No, you can't. There is no push to speak in a multiplayer game. Are we losing our brains right now? What's going on? From Software is still living in the dark ages, dude. I don't know how they don't have crossplay. At this point, Xbox has joined the fight for Super Earth and are adding Halo dudes to Helldivers. Alright, so the multiplayer is rough, but what about the gameplay? The stuff you're doing with your gamey thingies. Well, the characters and movement is great, wonderful, perfect. It is so good, the moving around, and it's Elden Ring gameplay. It's great. But the actual map is Limgrave for all 8 bosses. Any added bosses that they do by the week, Limgrave. And when you get to the final boss, there's no special arena, nothing unique about it. It is just a big ashy sand thing, and the intro to the boss is opening a slow, gray, bleak door every single time. Yeah, that's pretty rough. And the actual world that you're playing with it's literally just Limgrave. The enemies you're fighting are repeat bosses. The main castle in the center of the area on day 1 and day 2 is the same one for all 8 bosses. Ooh, who we gonna fight today? A Crucible Knight in the center castle again. Concept and structures of the game, the bones of the game are great, but the execution is literally the mini bosses that you got tired of, that you kept on fighting over and over again from Elden Ring. They're just back, and that is who you're fighting repeatedly, over and over again for every single run. The same enemies and the same mini bosses scattered around the world. Well, what about day 1 and day 2? Day 1 and day 2 got mini bosses that you have to fight, right? They gotta be unique, right? None of them are unique. They are all bosses that you have fought before. Alright, so if this game is essentially asset flip the game, we're playing asset flip the game, why didn't they use all of their assets? Why is it only Elden Ring again? They have a ginormous catalog from a beloved 3-part series. They have Sekiro. Why isn't Ishin a day 2 boss? Wouldn't that be gas as hell? This game could be so much better and still be low effort. Just flip the assets from the other games. Why didn't you flip the assets? Obviously, the game would be way amazing if everything was brand new. Your randomized bosses were new day 1 and day 2 bosses. Day 1 and day 2 bosses are just the bosses that you find out in the world in the game. So you might go and farm a demi-human queen on your mission, and then you're gonna go fight a demi-human queen for your day 1 boss. You know how many death-right birds I've killed? I've killed all of them. They are extinct now. From Software has such a deep catalog of bosses to choose from to add into this game. It would add so much variety if they just put in almost all the bosses. I understand if you don't want to put in the final bosses of the series, like Consort Radon or the Slave Knight Gale. Okay, I understand. Why not all the other bosses, though? You only get to fight them once in the game. Putting them in this game would make it so you have a chance of fighting all your favorite bosses again. And the worst part is, that's how they marketed the game. They put Nameless King on the face of the advertising. Then you hop into the game and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna fight Lothric and Lorien, bro. And then you get through and you're fighting freaking Tree Sentinel for the 20th time. Thank goodness. Thank you, From Software. I can't wait to fight another Swordmaster. Oh my god, it's Yoda, dude. It's Yoda. So they decided not to go into their deep catalog of bosses that would be great for a 3-person multiplayer fight. And they decide, you know what? We're only going to pick 2 bosses, not from each game. We're not going to include Sekiro or Bloodborne. We just can't let those bosses enter this game. But Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, we will allow 2 bosses from each game to enter the roster. Only 2. And you know who they decided to pick for Dark Souls 1? Yeah, they decided to pick the Gaping from freaking the stupid palace with the blight lizards, dude. Such a garbage choice. Oh, you know who else they decided to pick? Oh yeah. The centipede demon dude from the half of the game that nobody liked. Whoa. The unfinished half of Dark Souls 1. Let's just throw in one of those bosses. Dude, Dark Souls 1. If you're only gonna pick 2 bosses, why wouldn't you pick the hitters, dude? Orenstein and Smo is such a great fight for 3 people. And they were just like, nah. You get the floppy, gaping dragon who just sits there and shits itself while you slap it to death ever so slowly because the health bar is giant for no reason. And he's just gonna sit there and aura farm with his mouth in the sky just like, ah. The sad thing is, I have better ideas for what would be amazing asset flip bosses that would just make the game 10 times better. And it wouldn't even take that much effort. Imagine having a day 1 or day 2 boss that is Yorm the Giant with Sigurd fighting against you. And once you kill Sigurd, you get the Storm Ruler sword, and then you get to freaking take out Yorm. Wouldn't that be badass? That'd be a great fight for day 1 or day 2. Just make them tough, make it interesting. You know what else? You know who else would be a great day 1 or day 2 boss? Sif with his little sword and Artorias. You just fight his dog and his master. That'd be so badass. I already said Orenstein and Smo. Lady Freed and her freaking dad or husband or whatever that guy is.
You tripping, bro. You tripping.
You don't even have to change anything. Just put them in with a bigger health bar. That's way more interesting than fighting another Deathrite bird. Or another Crucible Knight. Anyways, that's basically all the thoughts I had on this game. There are some good things, like the shifting earths are cool. I wouldn't change that, but there's not enough meat on these bones, bro. That's pretty much it, dude. That's all I have to say.
If you do the cooking by the book, then